Hey everyone, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're building a real tactical blueprint to protect your energy and finally reclaim your peace from toxic people. If you've ever felt just completely drained by a friend, family member, or coworker, but you couldn't quite figure out how to stop the cycle without sparking a massive confrontation, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to explore a profoundly effective concept from our source material, the art of unavailability. It's a fundamental shift in how we handle difficult people in our everyday lives. We've got a great roadmap for this explainer. First, the hidden toxic drain. Second, stopping emotional accessibility. Then, the power of saying no, starving the drama, reducing access strategically, and finally, building an uncontrollable life. Let's jump right into step 1. All right, section 1, the hidden toxic drain. We've really got to start by validating this invisible problem because, let's face it, toxic people rarely announce themselves. They don't walk in wearing name tags that say, "Hello, I'm here to ruin your day." Instead, they hide behind constant criticism, subtle manipulation, jealousy, and gossip. Think about that one coworker who always has a crisis, or the relative who leaves you feeling totally exhausted after a 5-minute phone call. Often, they're people we've known for years, and they aren't even openly cruel, which is exactly what makes the drains so hard to pinpoint. I want you to read this question and really sit with it for a second. Have you ever felt emotionally smaller after spending time with someone? Feeling drained, confused, guilty, or diminished after an interaction is the ultimate red flag. Our source material points out a vital truth here. The solution is almost never to fight these people or expose them or try to convince them to change. I mean, imagine trying to reason with someone who actually benefits from misunderstanding you. Trying to change them is exactly what keeps you hooked right into their cycle. So what's the fix? Well, the most powerful thing you can do is become unavailable. And being unavailable doesn't mean you become a rude or arrogant person, and it absolutely doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It is simply about protecting your time, your attention, your emotions, and your peace by refusing to give everyone unlimited access to you. It's about recognizing that your energy is a finite resource, and you are the one holding the keys to the vault. Which brings us to section 2. Stop being emotionally accessible. You have to take back control of your reactions because toxic people gain power precisely through them. Just look at this exhausting, cyclical trap. You try to explain your intentions and they deliberately trust your words. You explain yourself again, trying to be even clearer, and they just find another accusation to throw at you. Eventually, you have to realize that the problem isn't a lack of explanation on your part. The problem is that they do not want to understand you. You simply do not need to prove your value to someone who has already made the decision to misunderstand you. To break that cycle and stop being so predictable, you need to use what we call the calm pause. Toxic people learn your emotional patterns over time, right? They know exactly which buttons to press to make you angry or guilty. But when you deliberately pause before replying, take extra time before answering emotional messages, and absolutely refuse to respond while angry, you starve them of the reaction they expect. Imagine their surprise when they throw out the bait and you just walk right past it. When they expect chaos and receive calm silence instead, they completely lose their leverage. I absolutely love this quote. Your peace becomes powerful when other people can no longer control it with their words. You officially have permission to stop explaining, stop arguing, and let calmness be your response. You can simply say, "I understand that's how you feel," and then stop engaging entirely. It takes 2 people to play tug of war. The game ends the moment you drop the rope. Now let's look at external boundaries in section 3, the power of saying no. We have to address the anxiety of saying no to people who expect your time, your attention, and your help whenever they demand it. When you finally push back, your new default phrase should simply be, "I can't do that." You do not need to give a long, drawn-out explanation every time you refuse something. Honestly, the more you explain your boundary, the more opportunities a manipulative person has to argue with it. A simple, firm, "I can't do that" leaves literally zero room for negotiation. Because it all comes down to this. A boundary is not a debate. It is a decision. Someone being disappointed by your boundary doesn't mean your boundary is wrong. It actually means the boundary is working. If someone gets upset because you won't let them take advantage of you, that reaction validates exactly why you needed the boundary in the first place. Let's move to section 4, starving the drama. Here, we're tackling the fast-paced, chaotic environments toxic people survive on. You know the type. They constantly bring you gossip, conflict, and complaints, desperately wanting you to take sides. When they try to pull you into unnecessary conflict, use these tactical options to starve the drama. Remind yourself that you do not have to attend every argument you're invited to. change the subject. Look them in the eye and say, I don't want to get involved. Or, incredibly effectively, just remain completely silent and let the awkwardness sit there. Because silence can be a powerful form of emotional protection. Not every problem requires your opinion. Not every conflict requires your presence. By withholding your reaction and staying quiet, you are literally starving the toxic dynamic of the oxygen it needs to survive. Without your fuel, their fire just burns out. This leads perfectly into Section 5, reduce access strategically. This is vital for situations where you can't completely avoid a toxic coworker or family member. The beauty of this is realizing you don't need a dramatic announcement to step back. You can genuinely wish someone well while implementing these steps. Reply less frequently, share less personal information, stop explaining private decisions, and just become polite but distant. You don't have to hate someone to limit your access to them, you just have to prioritize your own well-being. I want you to make this your personal mantra. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is protection. Toxic people can and will use your vulnerabilities against you. So be fiercely selective about sharing your big dreams or deep struggles with people who might use them as weapons later. Finally, we reach our ultimate shield, Section 6, build an uncontrollable life. At this stage, the focus shifts entirely away from the toxic people and entirely back to you. By rapid-firing your energy into investing in yourself, your goals, your health, meaningful relationships, skills, and financial stability, your life becomes so full of genuine purpose that you just have less time for unnecessary drama. You leave the energy vampires in the dust. The reality is, emotional independence is one of the strongest forms of freedom. When you build this uncontrollable life, you stop needing approval from the critics. You are no longer easily swayed by someone else's manipulative tactics because your foundation is incredibly solid. As we wrap up this explainer, anchor yourself to these truths about your worth. Your attention is energy, your time is your life, and your peace is valuable. Not everyone deserves access to them. Being unavailable isn't about being cold, it's about being selective. So, I'll leave you with this final, provocative question. Are you ready to become unavailable to the version of you they know how to manipulate? The moment you stop reacting to every provocation and start protecting your boundaries, they lose their control. You don't need to be more powerful than a toxic person, you just have to walk away. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you start protecting your peace today.